Chapter 81. Someone actually opened the door. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The iron door outside was smashed, but fortunately the door was strong enough and was not kicked open, otherwise the bandits would definitely catch them. Moreover, as the rain fell, the bandits ran away again. If the rain stopped, they would definitely come again. Sometimes I hope the rain will stop, and sometimes I don't. Anyway, the food has been eaten up, so I will just wait for death quietly. It's no big deal. I will still be a hero after 18 years. Thinking about it, Li Linger was amused by herself. As expected, a smile can conquer the city. At the gate of Coast Garden, Tang Ze and the four girls stood in the rain wearing protective clothing, looking very different. How about we make a bet? Tang Ze suddenly suggested. When they heard that Tang Ze wanted to make a bet, the four women stepped back directly. If they lost the bet with the master, they might lose their lives. Anbai knew this. Gambling harms people, so stay away from gambling. What are you doing? You make me look like a devil. The eyes of the four girls said, isn't it? If you win, I'll give you a portion of your favorite food as a reward. If you lose, you just need to dance for me. How about that? Come on. That the four girls took a step forward in unison. They should have said it earlier. They scared the cats to death. How do we bet? Anbai asked curiously. We knock on doors one by one and bet on whether they will open the door. If they take us in and don't harm us, I will give them supplies. Tang Ze just wanted to know if there were any good people these days. Anyway, he had never seen one until now. No, Luo Jun from Shanhu community was one. That's why they were given opportunities again and again, but nothing changed. But this is a villa, not a community. This is directly entering someone else's home. Someone must open the door. Shi Meng said immediately. After all, this is a probability problem. Losing is just dancing anyway. Me too. Sun Ting echoed. Isn't dancing her old trade? She had danced before. Tang Ze looked at Yi Qingyi and Xiaobai, who nodded. Okay, I bet that no one will open the door. If someone is kind enough to take us in, I won't say much, at least give us 1 year's worth of supplies. Having robbed so many supplies, Tang Ze didn't want to give them to bad people, and good people deserve to live. Master, you are so kind. Sun Ting couldn't help but tease. I'm not a bad person, did I force you? No. Yes, we are all voluntary. Tang Ze shrugged. You are so reluctant, please turn around and walk back, I promise not to pursue it. After that, Tang Ze walked inside. Oh, the master is angry. Wait for Xiaobai. And Bai was quick. The three women at the back door looked at each other, and Sun Ting followed. Yi Qingyi and Shi Meng felt that this was an opportunity to leave, but how long could they live without Tang Ze? Maybe they couldn't even get out of this city. There was nothing to consider, and Yi Qingyi and Shi Meng followed. Look, this is your own will. Looking at Tang Ze's true expression, the four women all laughed. Maybe this is the real him. When they arrived at the first villa, the iron gate outside seemed to be violently smashed open. It seems that the villas in the rich area were also robbed. Go directly to the door and knock. If Tang Ze comes now, your takeaway is here. It's simply a horror movie. The subtle footsteps seemed to approach the door. Tang Ze shouted. Is there anyone? Can I stay for 1 night? Get out, or I'll kill you. The man in the room looked at the cat's eye on the door. There were 5 weirdos standing outside. Maybe they tricked him into opening the door and then robbed the supplies. Tang Ze helplessly spread his hands. This brother is very angry. Brother, open the door. Anbai suddenly shouted delicately, using a woman to seduce him to open the door. Get out. Tang Ze shrugged. Even Xiaobai's appearance was useless. It seems that wearing a protective suit is not good. Revealing his appearance may open the door. Of course, you can't say that others are bad. Not opening the door is normal behavior, but opening the door is abnormal. Change to another home. Tang Ze said helplessly. He couldn't send supplies. when he arrived at the door of the second villa, the iron door was still open. This time, in order to let the other party open the door, the four women almost took off their protective clothing. Hey, 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 you can't be shameless. Tang Ze immediately stopped them. If you show your face, even the most vigilant men will open the door. Big brother in the room, open the door. It's so cold. Brother, open the door. Tang Ze's forehead had several black lines, and goosebumps were about to fall to the ground. However, a woman's voice sounded in the house, get out. Puff, ahahaha. Tang Ze burst into laughter. He actually encountered the hostess in the house. How could he let you in to seduce her, man? Change to another house. An hour later, Tang Ze had already shown a winner's smile. He was finally going to win. Since you want to dance, you have to rehearse. It has to be sexy and hot, like the Korean dance troupe. Tang Ze has already started to make demands. This is simply a doomsday girl group. Yi Qingyi pursed her lips and said, I haven't lost yet. You are so stubborn. If anyone can open the door these days, I will chop myself off. Shi Mingjiao smiled and said, don't do that. We are all useless. That's right, you can't chop me off. Sun Ting agreed. Tang Ze said that he used to ignore her, but now he holds her in his hands and cherishes her, and holds her in his mouth for fear of melting. When he arrived at the door of the villa, Tang Ze knocked on the door. Is anyone there? Li Linger in the room looked at the door with a trace of panic. Sun Ting shouted with a slight tremor, we are fleeing here, can we stay for one night? Please. Anbai's slightly soft voice is really lethal. Li Linger heard the girl's voice, still wrapped in a quilt, and stood up, put on a mask and came to the door. Tang Ze heard the footsteps and judged that it should be a woman inside. You bunked into the muzzle again, but if you don't break in, you can't find the so-called star, so forget it. In broad daylight, it's not your style to rob a woman. Li Linger saw 5 people through the cat's eye. They were wearing protective clothing and felt like a rescue team. Where are you from? Li Linger's voice sounded. Tang Ze secretly thought that it was a bad thing. It was actually a young girl. She wouldn't open the door out of sympathy. It shouldn't be. It wouldn't be so stupid, Yi Qingyi hurriedly said, we escaped from Shanhu community. Has your community been robbed by bad guys? Shimeng felt that there was hope. The girl spoke softly, yes, my parents were killed. I really have nowhere to go. There are bad guys on the road. This seemed to resonate with Li Linger. She felt that they were not bad guys, so she opened the locks one by one. When Tang Ze saw the door slowly opening, his eyebrows trembled. Why did they always win? Chapter 82. Is there still white moonlight in this day and age? You are listening at novelfull.audio. The 4 women were all smiling. Master, your gambling luck seems to be a bit bad. Tang Ze wanted to see what kind of woman could be so big-hearted. She dared to open the door at this time without fear of being killed. At first glance, she looked like a novice who had never experienced the world. Looking at the woman wrapped in a quilt and wearing a mask in front of him, Tang Ze paused. Her eyes were pretty, but I, Tang Ze, haven't lost yet. Maybe there are a few big guys hiding at the back door. As long as they enter, they will be killed. That way defeat can be turned into victory. Thank you, we'll stay for one night and then leave. Anbai's tone was easy to like. Li Linger nodded, then come in. Tang Ze's hand is already holding the gun, ready to shoot at any time. Little sister, your acting skills are too poor. Call your accomplices. However, when I walked into the house, there was nothing but air conditioning. Tang Ze understood, he must be hiding in the bedroom. No wonder he didn't hear any footsteps. I'm sorry, I've finished all the food and only half a bottle of water is left. If you don't mind me drinking it. Li Linger's words made the 5 people stunned. Can they still entertain guests like this now? Don't you know how precious water is now? Tang Ze chuckled inwardly. The water must be poisoned. I can see through your trick at a glance. The 5 of them took off their protective clothing first, and Li Linger finally saw the faces of the 4 women. She was also shocked that a boy actually brought 4 such beautiful girls. Then we won't be polite. Tang Ze said with a smile, thinking to himself, you must be reluctant to let go. However, Li Linger took the half bottle of biscuit from the coffee table, found 5 paper cups, and filled it with water just like he used to entertain guests. Tang Ze squinted his eyes slightly. He might have been drugged just before entering the house. Wait for me to test. After taking the paper cup, Tang Ze immediately took out the tester and put it into the cup, but the green light was displayed. Safety? How can it be? Oh, got it. Pretending to be half full of water to win favor, there must be more supplies hidden in such a big villa. Wait for me to find out. I have an urgent need to urinate. Where is the toilet? Tang Ze laughed. Just go straight and turn right. Thank you. After saying that, Tang Ze pretended to go to the toilet and immediately went upstairs when Li Linger wasn't paying attention. Li Linger said with a hint of a smile, sorry, it's a bit cold in the room. Come over here and warm yourself by the fire. Oops, the fire is going out. After that, he hurried to the fireplace to tear up the paper. I'm here to help you. Anbai ran to help. The 3 women at the back door looked at each other. In fact, they had the same idea as Tang Ze when they entered the house. They smelled a conspiracy, but Xiao Bai didn't feel defensive at all. As the fire got louder, Li Linger breathed a sigh of relief. You all come over and warm yourself by the fire. Don't catch a cold. There is no medicine for colds now. Little sister, do you live here alone? Simon came to the fireplace and felt much more comfortable. Li Linger hummed and whispered helplessly, well, there was electricity before, but it suddenly disappeared last week. Where are your parents? Yi Qingyi looked around and asked curiously. At this point, Li Linger's eyes could not help but condense with mist. They have been beaten to death. What's going on? Yi Qingyi asked with concern. My parents live in a 5th-tier city. We were in contact at first, but gradually my dad said that the community was unsafe, and my mom even told me not to go out. After a few days, she didn't reply to me, so I asked my neighbors. Auntie, because my dad resisted those people, the result. Li Linger started crying as she spoke. Sun Ting, Anbai, and Yi Qingyi have gone through too much in this story, and Yi Qingyi has the right to speak, and his brother-in-law is also a good person, but in the end, there is no reward. Shimeng sighed and comforted. Sister, don't be sad, I'm sorry. I'm very satisfied to meet you and talk to you at this time. Li Linger wiped the tears from the corners of his eyes and took off the mask. When his appearance was revealed, the 4 women were stunned for a moment. Yi Qingyi whispered, Sister, why do I feel that you look like a star? I think it's too similar. Anbai came close to Li Linger and pinched Li Linger's face to see if it was a fake. Sun Ting exclaimed, Are you Li Linger? That Shimeng felt that Tang Ze was very lucky. There were so many doors that could not be opened, but Li Linger was the only one who opened this door. Moreover, Li Linger's appearance was no worse than theirs, and even had the blessing of a star. Which man wouldn't want to take advantage of it? If people outside knew that Li Linger lived here, I'm afraid the place would be robbed to pieces. She can survive until now thanks to living in the villa area, where no one has contact with her. If it were changed to a community, she would have been there long ago. It was played badly. Yes. Li Linger felt that Yi Qingyi and others had no ill intentions, so she faced it calmly. Can you sign your autograph for me? I like you very much. Xiao Bai immediately exclaimed with joy. He had only seen it on TV before, but today he actually saw it in person. Shimeng smiled. She would immediately become the owner of whatever autograph he asked for. At this time, Tang Ze had almost gone through the villa. Not to mention the food, he had even found a cockroach, so Tang Ze had to accept the fact that this girl was really a good person. It's incredible. What are you talking about? Tang Ze came over and said with a smile. When he saw Li Linger looking back, Tang Ze froze on the spot. As a passionate man, how could I not have seen this face on my phone, and even the AI version? But I suddenly realized that the live version of Li Linger was worse than them. It was like malnutrition, and her skin was not so shiny. Look at Sun Ting's skin, which was as white as jade. I guess she didn't have many good meals, so she looked like this. After replenishing her body, her appearance will not lose to them. Are you Li Linger? Li Linger looked at Tang Ze and nodded, yes. The other 4 girls cast a look of blessing on you. You can meet Li Linger at this time. You are simply the master of romantic encounters. Tang Ze thought it was just a small star, and he never thought it would be a big star like Li Linger, but why don't you come to harm me? If you harm me, I will have a reason to enlighten you and help you get on the right track. I am your fan. Tang Ze smiled helplessly and walked to the side to lean on the sofa. Shi Meng looked at Tang Ze and felt that Tang Ze was a little strange. Why don't you do it? Not only Shi Meng thought so, the other 3 women thought so too, but Tang Ze couldn't do anything to a good person. If he opened the door for her, he would have to reward her with a year's worth of supplies. Thank you. Are you all from the same community? Li Linger asked curiously. It was nice to have someone talk to her, otherwise she would have been depressed and committed suicide. Chapter 83. She can't fit into our team. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Tang Ze pointed at Sun Ting and the other 3 girls, and then said to Shi Meng, we are from the same community, and then we ran to her community, and there was a riot. I took them out and escaped. Alas, many people died. Oh my God, you are so amazing. You can actually escape. Li Linger couldn't believe it. It was amazing that Tang Ze could escape with 4 girls. After all, Tang Ze seemed to be gentle and refined. Tang Ze stretched out his hands and approached the fireplace, and asked curiously, why do you live here alone? I came to participate in a commercial performance as a guest. The organizer arranged for me to rest here for 1 night, and I ended up being trapped. Tang Ze said oh, and then he didn't say anything. Yi Qingyi and Sun Ting looked at each other. The master was a little abnormal. Could it be that he met the goddess in his mind and was a little timid? Otherwise, let's be the villain. Where are you going? Li Linger asked curiously while blowing hot air to warm her hands. Shi Meng replied, we are going to Yunhai City. Yunhai City, it's more than 400 kilometers away. Are you going there by foot or by car? Oh, it seems that we can't drive now. Tang Ze suddenly stood up, interrupted the topic and said, why don't we eat something first? I don't have any food anymore, really. Li Linger thought Tang Ze asked her to get something to eat, and hurriedly explained. Looking at Li Linger's pitiful appearance, Tang Ze smiled bitterly and said, I didn't ask you to get food, I have food, I'll drive the car over. That I can't just perform magic. After all, I'm not familiar with Li Linger, but we have to keep our word, and we agreed that there will be no shortage of supplies for a year. Li Linger was very surprised. She watched Tang Ze put on protective clothing and walked out. Not long after, she saw a fierce Maybach coming. Oh my God! Li Linger covered her mouth and was stunned. It felt like this car ran out of a science fiction movie. Not only Li Linger, but also people from several villas around were looking at this side, with surprise and greed in their eyes. If they robbed this car, they would not be trapped here, because the car was relatively high. It could not be backed into the garage, so it could only be parked outside the garage. I'll go and help. Li Linger said and was about to help, but was stopped by Yi Qingyi smiled and said, no need to help, we girls can't lift it. That's so embarrassing. There's nothing to be embarrassed about, don't think too much. Sun Ting patted Li Linger's shoulders and found that there are still such girls nowadays. It's too rare. After all, she has never seen the world and still maintains the state of mind before the end of the world. Anyone who has experienced purgatory on earth will not be so naive. Tang Ze deliberately stayed in the garage for a while before entering the house. It's almost time, let's see what to eat for lunch. That when Li Linger came to the garage, her small mouth could fit a large sausage. More than 40 boxes of mineral water were stacked on the side, and there were super many foods next to it, from snacks to fresh meat, fruits, and even red wine, skin care products. Li Linger rubbed her eyes, and couldn't believe that everything in front of her was real. No, can that car hold so many things? Why don't you come and choose? Tang Ze pouted, calling the sweet master, but he didn't know how to let the master win and be happy. Not sensible at all. Shi Meng pulled Li Linger and smiled. Let's go together, take whatever you want to eat. I. Just consider it as our accommodation fee, choose it yourself, don't be embarrassed. Tang Ze opened a bottle of happy water, tons, comfortable. After thinking for a while, Li Linger said seriously, then I will do it. I can't eat your food for nothing. That's fine. Sun Ting said softly, I will help you. No, you just go and rest. Tell me what you want to eat and I'll see what I can do. Tang Ze teased, I didn't expect that a big star is also a cook. Big brother, please forgive me. If it doesn't taste good, don't scold me. That won't happen. Tang Ze smiled. He really wanted to see if Li Linger would have any bad thoughts after taking out so many supplies. As long as there was a little bad thought, he would punish you on behalf of justice. However, Tang Ze's hope was soon dashed. He was as honest as he could be. He packed lunch by himself and turned into a little cook in seconds, cutting a delicate fruit plate and serving it. Big brother Tang, sisters, have some fruit. Li Linger, wearing an apron, seemed to look better. She didn't have the high tone of a star at all. Instead, she looked like a servant, serving everyone, but Shi Meng has been looking at Li Linger. She didn't eat any of the fruit after she cut it with a fruit knife. If it were me, I would have eaten one secretly after being hungry for so long. Such a girl is not suitable for my team. Thinking of this, Shi Meng suddenly realized that Tang Ze suddenly became much quieter. When he came before, he was very excited. Everyone was discussing which star it was in the car. When they found that Li Linger was not changed by the end of the world, they changed their minds. After all, we women have more or less selfish calculations before, wanting to take advantage of Tang Ze, but Li Linger doesn't seem to have it. Maybe she doesn't know how chaotic it is outside. We often eat it. Eat more. It's full of vitamins. Yi Qingyi smiled. This smile was extremely gentle in Li Linger's eyes, like a caring elder sister. She was full of emotion in her heart. It has been a long time since anyone cared about her so much. 2 lines of moving tears flowed from her eyes. Thank you. Don't be like this, good people will still be rewarded. Tang Ze smiled, thinking that the world has not completely fallen, and there are still good people like Li Linger, but how long can those good people live? Li Linger only took a piece of orange. I'll go cook first, but there is no electricity. There is self-heating rice in the supplies, go and find it. Tang Ze said. Okay, I know. As Li Linger went to find it, the 4 women looked at Tang Ze at the same time, and their eyes were strange. Why are you looking at me like that? You have a problem with your thinking again. Tang Ze wanted to make a severe criticism. Shi Meng approached Tang Ze, exhaling sweetly, Master, such a beautiful woman, don't you take her in to warm your bed? She is different from you, not bad enough, so she can't be integrated. Yi Qingyi pouted her red lips and said, I am not bad either, I was just robbed by you, the master. You are not bad, I saved you, and you patted your butt and left, how can such a good thing happen? Shi Meng smiled evilly, this time I stand on the side of the master, condemning your behavior of knowing kindness but not seeking repayment. Yi Qingyi could only admit defeat, you all made sense, I was wrong, okay. Then Li Linger also took so many supplies, how can I repay her? Xiao Bai said curiously. Tang Ze immediately knocked on Bai's forehead, silly, she opened the door for us to stay, and we are repaying her. Besides, I have already said that whoever opens the door and has no intention of harming us will be given supplies. Master, Xiao Bai is almost knocked silly by you. Sun Ting joked, indeed, the more you knock, the more silly he becomes. Like a naive person. Yi Qingyi added a knife, which made Xiao Bai so angry that he could hang a bottle of oil from his mouth. Chapter 84 Tang Ze was forcefully kissed. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Hearing the footsteps of Li Linger coming back, the 5 people also stopped chatting. Almost an hour and a half later, 7 dishes and a soup were cooked by Li Linger. Tang Ze didn't think it was delicious, but he didn't expect it to be good, especially the braised spare ribs, which were ruddy in color and looked very appetizing. There was also the chicken stewed with mushrooms, which had a strong chicken aroma, and the beef fried with garlic sprouts. She is really a good cook. I haven't cooked for a while, so I'm a little rusty. Sorry. Li Linger stood by and wiped her hands modestly. It's very well done. Then you sit down, don't all stand. This is related to the issue of rules. Tang Ze still has to speak. In front of outsiders, don't let me eat with your hands on the ground, otherwise I will become a perverted demon. Sit down. After saying that, Tang Ze threatened with his eyes. Although he didn't take Li Linger away, he had to maintain his image. Sun Ting and Anbai felt that they hadn't sat down to eat for a long time, and they were a little uncomfortable. After serving the last bowl of soup, Li Linger asked, "Brother Tang, do you want something to drink? I'll pour it for you. If you don't want to drink, stop working and sit down to eat." "Yes, Linger, come and eat. You've worked hard cooking." Sun Ting pulled Li Linger to sit on the chair. Li Linger felt embarrassed. Yi Qingyi stood up and said with a smile, "I'll get a bottle of red wine." "I'll go." Li Linger shouted immediately, but was held down by Sun Ting again. Tang Ze sighed in his heart. Such a good girl, how could she not be a little bad? It's not your fault if you have some bad thoughts. Soon Sun Ting brought a bottle of red wine and poured it. "Cheers, today I finally saw the big star in person," Tang Ze said happily. "I'm not a big star now. If I hadn't met you, I would have starved to death in a few days." Shi Meng smiled and said, "Sister, with these supplies, you can survive for 2 years if you save a little." "Thank you, sister, thank you, I'll drink it." After that, Li Linger drank it directly. Sun Ting laughed, "Sister, you have a good alcohol tolerance, so I'll drink one too." "Then I'll drink one too." Xiao Bai also joined in the fun. Tang Ze was also convinced, "Drink less, I don't want to pick up corpses." "Happy, why don't you come and have a drink with us? Fuck you." A bottle of red wine obviously couldn't satisfy them, so they directly brought a box over, with the attitude of not leaving until they were drunk. Tang Ze didn't drink a drop of alcohol, mainly because the red wine didn't taste very good, not as good as happy water. After 3 rounds of drinking, the girls were a little tipsy. Each of them was extremely beautiful, and they took out their mobile phones to take pictures. "Sister, can I borrow your mobile phone to make a call?" "Of course." Shi Meng handed the mobile phone to Li Linger. Li Linger wanted to call her neighbor in her hometown, but as the call was dialed out, "The user you dialed is out of service area." "Why can't I get through?" Li Linger frowned. She could get through before. Sun Ting said, "Recently, many areas have lost signals. It is estimated that all communications will be interrupted soon." "Oh, so that's it." Li Linger returned the phone to Shi Meng. Shi Meng raised the glass again and shouted, "Let's drink today and live in the present." "Well said, live in the present." Tang Ze stood up and drank a glass of red wine. The meal took 2 hours, 1.5 hours of drinking, looking at the wine bottles on the ground, now standing on the sofa to sing and dance. Even Li Linger sang along, as if to vent her emotions. Watching the 5 women quarreling in the living room, Tang Ze took out his mobile phone and took a photo of them as a souvenir. After all, at this moment, he also felt the long-lost happiness. It was not a master and a servant, but a simple friendship. But I have to say, if it weren't for the end of the world, how could I sit here, eat with these proud girls, and watch their embarrassing state after drinking? Come and play with us. Anbai shouted to Tang Ze. Tang Ze shook his head, "You guys play, I won't come." "Come on, come on." Sun Ting and Yi Qingyi went up and dragged him over. "How come he has become a pure little virgin? Don't mention how fierce he is when he fucks us." However, Tang Ze soon discovered that these women pushed him to Li Linger with all their strength. They really had bad intentions. Look at Li Linger, she is embarrassed. Unlike you female hooligans, after playing tired, everyone gathered around the fireplace to keep warm. I haven't been so happy for a long time. Yi Qingyi murmured while looking at the fire in the fireplace. Me too. Sun Ting whispered. Xiao Bai has fallen asleep. Although Xi Meng didn't say anything. Today is indeed a special day, mainly because of Li Linger, a kind girl, who made everyone relax their vigilance. Li Linger leaned against Xi Meng, her beautiful eyes looked at the flames, her pretty face flushed and began to shine, not as weak as before. What are you thinking about? Xi Meng asked curiously. Nothing. Li Linger said faintly. She was indeed happy today, but she would still be alone tomorrow. Xi Meng gently stroked Li Linger's back. If you have anything to say, just say it, don't hold it in your heart. Can I leave with you? Li Linger said weakly, with a pleading tone. Before Xi Meng could say anything, Tang Ze smiled and said, those supplies are enough for you to use for a year. By then, maybe the end of the world will be over and the order will be restored to the previous state. I know my request is a bit excessive, but I can cook for you, wash clothes, and do some odd jobs. I really don't want to stay here alone. As she spoke, Li Linger couldn't control her emotions. Fortunately, Xi Meng comforted her. Tang Ze never expected that after a meal and some bouncing around after drinking, she would take the initiative to join in. Our team is not suitable for you. You will be more comfortable here. Tang Ze persuaded. They have to provide themselves with energy slots every day, and sometimes they have to act as thugs. The work intensity is very high. I have a strong ability to adapt. Tang Ze sighed and said directly, Li Linger, to tell you the truth, we have killed a lot of bad guys. It's not safe for you to follow us, you know. Bad guys deserve to die. I also want to kill bad guys and avenge my parents. Damn, did this big star drink too much fake wine? Why did he have to follow me? Seeing that Tang Ze didn't speak, Li Linger suddenly stood up and came to Tang Ze. Brother Tang, take me away, I will be your woman. This may be Li Linger's only trump card, that is, herself. It seems that you are drunk. Tang Ze frowned and said. No. After saying that, he directly pressed Tang Ze to the ground, and his rosy lips directly occupied Tang Ze's mouth. This shocked the three women next to him. What a fierce big star, the master was actually kissed by force. Anbai slowly woke up at this time and looked at the scene in front of him. It turns out that I am still dreaming, let me sleep for a while. Chapter 85 People really dare to die. You are listening at novelfull.audio. It must be said that the feeling of being kissed by a big star is very subtle, but Tang Ze still pushed Li Linger away. Are you sick? I don't need you to be my woman. No, you just responded to me. Li Linger retorted. That's a man's physiological reaction. Don't be unreasonable. If I'm angry, you will suffer. Tang Ze's face suddenly turned cold. Xi Meng quickly pulled Li Linger away. You will only make him unhappy, and Li Linger was also frightened by Tang Ze's attitude. Tears fell down uncontrollably. She had already shamelessly kissed a man, even for the first time, begging him to take her away, but was ruthlessly rejected. Doesn't her body have any value at all? Clearly gave me hope, but trampled on my hope. It's better to let myself wait for death silently. Li Linger suddenly ran towards the door, opened the door and rushed out directly, obviously wanting to commit suicide. I guess it's the same as you. Tang Ze looked at Xi Meng and said. This made Xi Meng feel ashamed. There was a choice between dying with dignity and living in disgrace. She chose the latter, but she had to pretend to die. It was quite embarrassing to think about it. Yi Qingyi and Sun Ting thought the same thing. Everyone wanted to die, but when it came to death, they didn't dare to do it. Just when everyone thought Li Linger was going to break, Li Linger jumped into the rain. The people in the room looked at Li Linger in disbelief. She really dared to jump. She actually did something that no one dared to do. If you don't want to be Tang Ze's woman, you would rather die, oh my. This damn charm. Li Linger, who jumped out with her eyes closed, didn't feel any pain on her body, and didn't feel the rain. Slowly opened her eyes and saw that she was still under the eaves. Didn't she jump out? Do you want to die so much? Isn't it better to stay here and wait for rescue? Tang Ze said while smoking a cigarette and standing behind him. I'm not a good person. You, a good girl, shouldn't be so depraved. Li Linger bit her red lips and whispered, have you ever lost your parents? Spitting out a puff of smoke, Tang Ze said lightly, I am an orphan. Li Linger was stunned and said silently, I lost my parents, but as a daughter, I can only hide here and live in shame. I can't avenge them. It's better to reunite with them early. Hee, why did you wait until now? Why didn't you die earlier? Li Linger looked at the modified Maybach next to the garage. Because of you, you let me see that revenge is hopeful. You can take your sister and others to escape, you must have your own means, and there are so many supplies, this car must not be able to fit, and ordinary people can't have protective clothing like you. You are very smart, I thought you were a silly and sweet like Xiao Bai. Li Linger turned to look at Tang Ze and said seriously, I can be as silly and sweet, as long as I can get revenge. Are you negotiating with me? Tang Ze frowned slightly. He thought Li Linger was saving himself and others without any purpose. It seems that she also has her own little thoughts. Yeah. Tang Ze raised his delicate chin and sighed, to be honest, you disappoint me a little. I'm not a big star now, and I don't have anyone to rely on. The only thing I can rely on is this body. What the sisters can do, I can do too. Did you see that? The sisters have to look at you and nod before they sit down to eat. It feels like you don't have a normal boyfriend-girlfriend relationship, but more like a superior-subordinate relationship. Tang Ze smiled. He really underestimated other people's insight and guessed it almost right. Are you so sure that you can avenge your parents? If you can't, wouldn't it be a waste of this body? That's better than waiting to die here, and doing business is always profitable and loss-making. Haha, that makes sense. Li Linger's nails were about to dig into the flesh, and she whispered, have we reached a deal then? How can we reach a deal if we haven't even inspected the goods? I'm very clean, no one has touched me. Li Linger gritted her teeth, and she could actually say such shy words. Tang Ze smiled after hearing this. Everyone in the room claimed that it was their first time. He came closer and smelled it, it has a bit of a strange smell. I like women who smell good. I want to return it if I check it like this. I also want to take a shower, but there is no water. When she said this, Li Linger's jade neck turned red. Who doesn't want to be a fragrant girl? Now there is water, you can go and wash yourself. Okay, I'll go now, I'll wait for you in the master bedroom on the 3rd floor. After saying this, Li Linger ran into the house with her head down. She had just said all the most embarrassing words in her life, but for revenge, what does this count for? Watching Li Linger run into the house, Tang Ze flicked the cigarette butt away. In the end, others were calculating since they entered the house, just say, there are no simple-minded people in this world, and there is no one who asks for help for no reason. They all do it to achieve their own goals, even Li Linger is no exception. I am happy that there is a big star woman like Li Linger, and I am unhappy that there is a big star woman like Li Linger. Well, let's go check the goods first. After entering the house, Sun Ting bowed 90 degrees. Congratulations, master. Yi Qingyi, and Bai, and Shi Meng also bowed and shouted coquettishly, congratulations, master. I really suspect that you are teaching others bad things. Tang Ze felt that Li Linger changed too quickly, and there was no sign before. We didn't, absolutely not. Just pure congratulations to the master for having a beautiful girl. Another one comes to share the damage. Half an hour later, Tang Ze came to the master bedroom and saw Li Linger on the bed, shaking with cold. Don't you know how to turn on the air conditioner? Tang Ze picked up the remote control, turned on the air conditioner, adjusted the heating to the maximum, and turned on the light. Is there a call? Li Linger exclaimed. Tang Ze shook his head, sat on the bed and said lightly, I just fixed the generator. I didn't want to do it. After all, once the lights in your villa are on, those people around will definitely come to trouble you. Hearing Tang Ze's caring words, she felt a touch of warmth in her heart. but she also smiled bitterly. Your car parked there is already a problem. If you leave, I don't think I will live long. Are you blaming me? Li Linger slowly lowered her head. Raise your head. Li Linger slowly raised her head and looked at Tang Ze's aggressive eyes, and a touch of red flowed on her pretty face. It's a beautiful face indeed, I can accept it just barely. Tang Ze said lightly, touching the soft red lips with his fingers. Hearing this, Li Linger was relieved immediately, but was it so reluctant? Although she is not a big star anymore, she is still proud of this face. Now you can come over and kiss me. Ah! Li Linger suddenly exclaimed, isn't it usually the boys who take the initiative? Chapter 86 The Taste of Home. You are listening at novelfull.audio. What? Do you want me to serve you? Sorry, I don't really understand. That I still have to teach the novice on the spot. An hour later, Tang Ze came downstairs with a feeling of unsatisfaction. The feeling brought by the big star was indeed different, but he was a little weak and didn't have enough fun. The master doesn't have any sympathy for women. Shi Meng laughed teasingly. Now she has probably figured out Tang Ze's bottom line. Sometimes joking is called romance, but when you shouldn't joke, don't touch it. Even Xiaobai knows this. Tang Ze rolled his eyes to the back of his head. Hee, I taught her for at least half an hour, you teach her well. The women laughed happily. When Li Linger comes downstairs, they have to play a prank on her. I found that people in the villas around us are peeking at us. After the joke, Yi Qingyi said vigilantly. Once the light is turned on, she becomes the target of public criticism. Tang Ze suddenly picked up Yi Qingyi. They can only envy, be honest and envy, otherwise they will die. Yi Qingyi hugged Tang Ze's neck, listening to Tang Ze's domineering words. Her eyes gradually showed admiration. Master. I didn't have enough fun just now. Then she randomly chose a bedroom and walked in, and Bai was much smarter and sneaked in directly. Sun Ting and Shi Meng in the living room looked at each other. When will it be their turn when there are more women in the future? As night fell, the entire Shuangdong district fell into darkness. Only this villa exuded a bright light, like a mirage, but it also seemed to shout, come and grab me, I have electricity. The temperature at this time has reached -6 degrees, and the ground has begun to freeze. Everyone in Shuangdong district was shivering in their blankets, while Tang Ze was doing push-ups in the living room in his shorts and black vest. Sun Ting, Yi Qingyi, and Shi Meng were still practicing yoga. They were so tempting in their yoga pants. Their long legs were not in vain. Pleasant laughter came from the kitchen from time to time. Li Linger came downstairs with an injury to cook for everyone. She was teased and blushed. She wanted to dig a crack to crawl in. But Anbai ran to help, and Li Linger could relax a little. After all, it was a meal for 6 people. Tang Ze thought to himself, let's just go with the flow in the future. Now the 5 times speed is enough, and Li Linger's energy bar has increased to 74%, this is very unexpected. The 3.0 gift package is about to be unlocked. I don't know what good things will be in it, this 2.0 is now unbeatable. Once the 3.0 gift package is opened, how can others live? Can you lower your voices? I can hear you saying bad things about me. Tang Ze shouted towards the kitchen while doing push-ups with one finger, thinking I was deaf, and Bai stuck his head out with a spatula and shouted, Master, I didn't. Xiao Linger, don't learn bad things from them, learn the serious things. Tang Ze reminded seriously, which caused the 3 women doing yoga to laugh secretly. Master, do you mean the serious things you say? Li Linger almost hummed in a mosquito voice, her jade neck was almost red, and with Anbai's crazy teasing, she was almost unable to stand. Soon, a sumptuous dinner was served to the table by Li Linger. Tang Ze sat in the main seat and looked at Li Linger who was kneeling next to him. The bad things are learned quickly, and the good things are learned slowly. You are going against me, right? Let's all sit down and eat. I'm really like a pervert. Sun Ting said seriously, serving food with the master is a violation of the superiors. This is the most basic principle. Please understand that there is no order without rules. It also lets the newcomers know who is in charge here. Yes, we can't offend the master's authority. There will be more and more newcomers in the future. Eating is to establish authority. Shi Meng's words made the women present agree. In the future, newcomers will kneel in the back row. Those in the front row are not qualified to kneel. Look, I, Tang Ze, have become a sinner. Okay, sit once a week. This request is not too much. Once every half a month. Yi Qingyi said. Tang Ze was so angry that he laughed. Who brought the evil wind? Stand up and see if I don't beat him. In fact, sitting down to eat will give you a sense of home, and Tang Ze has been eating alone since he was born. Maybe the lunch at noon touched a nerve. After dinner, Tang Ze went straight to the living room, wanting to read a doomsday novel and supplement his knowledge. Who knew that there was no internet here, and it felt like the communication was going to be completely cut off, and Bai suddenly shouted, "Master, you haven't fed us yet. Feel free, you don't have hands, and the master still has to serve you, what a twisted logic." Tang Ze cursed and sat on the sofa. Has he been in a good temper recently? He made them swell up. It seems that he has to throw bones a few times before they behave themselves. One can still be fed, but 5 is useless. Lingling, you made the master angry. Anbai whispered. Ah. No. Yes, the master said your little canine teeth are too sharp. Li Linger blushed and whispered, Sister Xiaobai, teach me later. Okay, no problem, take a banana and practice first. Yi Qingyi asked curiously, you two are not eating, what are you secretly talking about? Nothing, eat, eat. Anbai and Li Linger shook their heads like rattles, and Li Linger felt her face burning. After dinner, everyone sat on the sofa eating fruit in a daze. There was no TV, no internet. By the way, let's listen to Xiao Linger's story. Tang Ze immediately found a topic, the newcomer's self-introduction. Li Linger, holding a banana, came back to her senses. I'm not very good at telling stories. Oh, the master means to tell me about your past experiences, from childhood to adulthood. Anbai got along well with Li Linger, perhaps because of the little fan. Li Linger was silent for a moment and said, I was born in a small city. My parents are both teachers. Maybe that's why they disciplined me very strictly, especially not allowing early love. I was told to concentrate on studying, and I would have a good job in the future. I didn't let them down. I was admitted to a 985 school and majored in English. I thought I would be an English teacher in the future. You study English? I thought you studied acting, so how could you go to act? Sun Ting peeled the grapes and then put the unskinned grapes into Tang Ze's mouth. Tang Ze was now a mouth-opening character, and he had to be fed. Yi Qingyi, who was sitting on the other side, was even better. She bit the grapes with her teeth and put them into Tang Ze's mouth, taking advantage of Tang Ze. Li Linger blushed as she watched this scene, and shyly looked away. When I was a freshman, I was supposed to go to an audition with a friend, but I was chosen, and I just wanted to have fun. You can still do this, that's enough to show that you are very talented. Shi Meng sighed, and she became famous while having fun. Chapter 87 The rain stops for the second time. You are listening at novelfull.audio. I don't have any talent, I just adapt quickly and find it fun. Sun Ting sighed, why don't I have this kind of luck? I can only make a living in the live broadcast room. She said so, but she was actually noticed before, but the boss always has conditions, and men know what the conditions are. Linger, you should have a big boss behind you. Shi Meng peeled the orange, of course not for herself, she had to care about the master all the time, so that she could be reused in the future. After all, everyone sitting here is at least a veteran. Li Linger frowned and thought for a while, no. Didn't you get the unspoken rule? Yi Qingyi couldn't believe it. Beauty like Li Linger is definitely the favorite of rich people. No, the master knows. Li Linger blushed again, not daring to meet Tang Ze's eyes. Like a newlywed wife, Shi Meng said, I understand. It seems that there is a man who silently pays for you behind you. but the end of the world has come before he can stand in front of you. Then I will get the advantage. Tang Ze also joked, and by even said, the boss must have cried in the toilet. Ha 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 ha. Except for Li Linger, who blushed, everyone else laughed. Li Linger didn't want Tang Ze to misunderstand, and explained anxiously, there is no boss, nonsense. Oh, I'm anxious. Oh, Sun Ting's words caused several women to squint and say, this made Li Linger even more anxious, and the look in her eyes when she looked at Tang Ze seemed to say, I really don't have any boss. Okay, you are all going to make others cry. Tang Ze put his hand and smiled. Yi Qingyi sighed, it's really frustrating to compare yourself to others. I was crying like a pear blossom in the rain at that time. Master, your heart is as hard as a stone. When Linger is anxious, you feel distressed. Ha! There was another booing, and Tang Ze was forced to smile bitterly, while Li Linger pinched her fingers and lowered her head, her jade neck red again. While everyone was chatting, they didn't notice that the rain outside had stopped. This was also the second time the rain stopped after the end of the world, and what did the rain stop mean? Killing and plundering. Okay, you all said so, Xiao Linger, come sit on me and let them envy you. The four women started to make a noise again, and the whistles were blown. Go quickly, you are still standing there stupidly. Shi Meng patted the shy Li Linger. Li Linger hummed with a mosquito sound, got up and came to Tang Ze, and Tang Ze held the white wrist and pulled it, and the beauty was directly in his arms. This time, the noise was even more outrageous. The noise was as if it was going to lift the roof off the house, causing Li Linger to hide her face directly in Tang Ze's arms. Kiss, kiss. Anbai stood on the sofa and clapped her hands to cheer. With Anbai starting, the other three women immediately added fuel to the fire. Tang Ze was a little embarrassed. They were really arrogant recently. They had to throw bones tomorrow, but looking down at that beautiful face, the big watery eyes slowly closed, and the rosy lips exuded infinite temptation, waiting for the owner to taste it. Just as Tang Ze lowered his head to taste it, a sudden knock on the door interrupted the rhythm. Tang Ze frowned immediately and looked up outside the house. Li Linger also opened her beautiful eyes, and her eyes were more or less a little disappointed. It seems that they can't wait. Shi Meng's tone gradually became colder. Sun Ting had taken out her gun to check the ammunition. Li Linger was stunned. There was actually a gun. Tang Ze patted Li Linger's head, and Li Linger sat aside obediently, whispering, why would anyone come at this time? That Yi Qingyi inserted the magazine and said lightly, because we are the only place with lights on. Okay, put on your pajamas. Tang Ze reminded. With the heating, everyone was so cool in their clothes. I thought I couldn't stand the test. The girls put on their pajamas obediently and tidied their hair. This image is still necessary, Li Linger suggested. Why don't we wear masks? That Shi Meng patted Li Linger's shoulders and smiled. We are so beautiful, why should we cover it up? What if? Kill. Yi Qingyi said indifferently. Sun Ting patted Li Linger's head. Your first lesson will start soon. During the conversation, Tang Ze had already opened the door, and a cold air rushed into the room directly. Looking at the dozen men in front of him, wearing thick down jackets and shivering with cold, Tang Ze showed his signature friendly smile. Everyone, what's going on so late? More than a dozen men looked at Tang Ze. In such a cold day, he was only wearing shorts and a t-shirt, and his feet were either stepping on clinker or wrapped in several layers of plastic bags. Come to think of it, there is electricity inside, there must be a generator. Hello, my name is Zhuo Zhixian, I live in the villa opposite, you should have seen me on TV. Zhuo Zhixian said, and he also adjusted his gold-rimmed glasses, and slightly showed a proud side profile. I haven't seen it. Tang Ze told the truth, he really hadn't seen it. A young man behind shouted, brother, the person in front of you is the richest man in our Huan city, you don't recognize him, you don't have eyes. Shut up. Zhuo Zhixian immediately shouted at his son. Zhuo Yong curled his lips, looking indifferent, but his eyes looked at the modified Maybach next to him, thinking about how to get this car. It's so cool. I'm sorry, my son is ignorant, please forgive me. It's okay, it's okay. Tang Ze still maintained an honest and humble attitude, but this attitude is equivalent to 2 words in the eyes of these men: easy to bully. We come here for no other reason, just want to ask, how do you have electricity? Although Zhuo Zhixian was smiling, his teeth were chattering. The temperature has dropped to -10 degrees, and there is a biting cold wind. Tang Ze said with a long "Oh, I bought a diesel generator." So that's it, this car is also yours? Yes, it's mine. More than a dozen men couldn't believe how this ordinary young man in front of them could have so many supplies. Some people knew that he had knocked on the door before, all wearing strange protective clothing. Looking at the group of men shivering with cold, Tang Ze smiled and said, "Anything else? I'm ready to go to bed." One of the men in the team shouted, "Handsome, can you let us in to warm up?" Since someone spoke up, Zhuo Zhixian said kindly, "It's not easy for everyone now. The temperature has dropped a lot in the past 2 days. There is no electricity at home. Can you let us in to rest for a while? Don't worry, we can sit for a while and leave. It's a small matter, please come in." Seeing that Tang Ze was so generous, those who didn't open the door before felt guilty. When I walked into the house, I immediately felt the warmth coming from all directions. This warm feeling was as comfortable as being in my mother's arms. How come there is a fairy? Is it an illusion because of the cold? Chapter 88. You are all good people. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Zhuoyong also rubbed his eyes, and when he was sure it was true, his mouth watered. Not to mention Zhuoyong, even his father looked amazed. The men next to him stood still and didn't know how to move, as if they had never seen a beautiful woman in 8 lifetimes. Tang Ze has to admit that their lethality is indeed very powerful. At the spiritual level, some men thought to themselves, if they had known about such a beauty, they would have opened the door long ago. Hey, that woman looks familiar, she looks like a star. It's actually Li Linger. Li Linger lives here, but no one knows. Zhuoyong also discovered Li Linger. She was so beautiful in person, with a red face and a charming attitude. But the one next to her was also pretty, and the ones on the left and right, damn it. I like them all so much and want them all. Hello, beauties, my name is Zhuoyong. This is my dad, the richest man in Huan City. Zhuoyong stepped forward and introduced, and immediately smelled a fragrant smell. This feminine fragrance is really fascinating. Mr. Shi. Zhuo Zhixian recognized Shi Meng immediately and never expected that she was here. Shi Meng smiled, "Mr. Zhuo, what a coincidence. Why are you here? Don't you live in Shanhu community? Our community has been in chaos, so everyone came here to hide." Shi Meng seemed very natural, but now the men could only see her beautiful face and her devilish figure hidden in her pajamas. Zhuo Zhixian sighed and said in a deep voice, "When something like this happens, we rich people are the first to be unlucky. The rain stopped once before, and a lot of robbers came. They almost rushed to the house. Fortunately, it rained, and several of them were soaked to death and ran away in disgrace. Yes, if we don't unite now, we will be robbed and killed." Simon looked helpless, but everyone didn't seem to hear what she said, but looked at her face and even her pajamas. Chest. Zhuo Zhixian sighed like an old leader, "So, we must unite together, only then can we have hope of survival. If you are selfish, you will never live long." "Mr. Zhuo is right, I agree." Shi Meng said with a smile, and there was a chill in the depths of his eyes. At this time, Zhuoyong discovered that there was fruit on the coffee table in the living room. "Holy shit, you guys still have fruit to eat." It didn't mean he didn't agree. Zhuoyong rushed over, picked up half a piece of watermelon and started to eat it. While eating, I sighed, "Maid, I didn't even bother to eat watermelon before, but suddenly I found it to be very sweet. Is there any more watermelon?" After hearing this, the men also walked towards the living room and took the fruits without saying a word, as if they were their own. Tang Ze looked at it with a smile. Li Linger was a little scared and leaned against Tang Ze, holding Tang Ze's big hand tightly with both hands. For Li Linger, everything was given to Tang Ze now, and Tang Ze was everything to her. If Tang Ze died, these men would probably turn themselves into corpses. The men eat the watermelon very quickly, without any concern for image. Who is not the boss if you want to live here? Watch the watermelon juice continuously flowing from the corners of your mouth and falling onto the valuable carpet. Sun Ting and Yi Qingyi were almost furious. That was the place to sleep tonight, and the carpet had to be changed. These bastards. Xiao Bai, Linger, cut some more watermelons for the bosses. The richest man hasn't even eaten them yet. Tang Ze was extremely generous, which made Zhuo Zhixian very satisfied. This young man respected him very much, even it's all. Xiao Bai took Linger, who was a little nervous and frightened, to get the watermelon. While the man in the living room was eating the watermelon, he looked at Xiao Bai and Li Linger. The greed in his eyes could hardly be hidden, especially Zui Yong, who had an evil look on his lips. As the watermelon was brought to the table by and by again, the men who had not eaten the watermelon just started to grab it frantically. Zhuo Zhixian did not grab it. After all, he had to take into account the image of the richest man. He was cursing his son in his heart and didn't know how to bring me a piece. Tang Ze smiled and took a piece over. Mr. Zhuo, try it. This watermelon is so sweet. Thank you, little brother, there are a lot of good people now. Isn't that right? All the people I meet are bad people, even women. Tang Ze's words aroused the girl's disobedience. What's wrong with us? It's really nonsense. Zhuo Zhixian didn't understand the meaning of these words at first, so he changed the subject while eating watermelon and said, our Huan city has not dropped to 0 degrees even in winter, and this cold weather has made it worse. Tang Ze took out a pack of cigarettes and gave one to Zhuo Zhixian. Zhuo Zhixian was shocked. There was still a cigarette. Zhuo Zhixian was not polite. He took the cigarette from Tang Ze with one hand and held it directly in his mouth, but there was no fire. At this time, Tang Ze handed over the fire again. Zhuo Zhixian did not move his hands and just stretched out his head to light the cigarette. Tang Ze's smile became a little thicker. I have worked in Huan City for several years, and I have never encountered such cold weather. I think only northerners can adapt. Zhuo Zhixian exhaled a puff of smoke and said with a smile, if the temperature drops any further, I'm afraid even the northerners won't be able to withstand it. You kid actually still has a cigarette, let's smoke a cigarette, you're so ignorant. Zui Yong came over and said carelessly, not taking Tang Ze seriously at all. Tang Ze took out a pack of huazi with an honest look, but Zui Yong took it away. Tang Ze also wanted to hear Zhuo Zhixian's words to stop him, but the father just watched and said nothing. Zui Yong, smoking, slowly walked up to Sun Ting and blew a puff of smoke at her provocatively. Beauty, you are wearing so little, why don't you take it off completely? He even reached out to pull Sun Ting's pajamas. Sun Ting was almost unable to suppress her anger and wanted to take out her gun and shoot the guy in the head, but the master hadn't had enough fun yet, so he suppressed his anger, retreated with a panic expression, and hid behind Tang Ze. What are you doing? Zhuo Zhixian seemed to dissuade him, but his tone was not harsh. Zui Yong flicked the ash, and the ash slowly fell on the clean floor. This scene made Yi Qingyi, who loved cleanliness, crazy. It's just a joke. Zui Yong grinned. Dad, why are you pretending? I haven't touched a woman for almost a month. The other men began to stand around in a surrounding posture, and 2 of them walked around, as if they were looking for some supplies. Boss Zhuo, we have to rest. Shi Meng said lightly. Zhuo Zhixian threw the cigarette but on the ground and stomped it out. Yi Qingyi couldn't hold it anymore. Fuck, there are so many supplies in the garage. Suddenly a man shouted. All the men rushed into the garage, and when they saw the mountain of supplies, their eyes lit up. Beauty, supplies, this is not the peak of the end of the world. Watching the men looting, Li Linger couldn't help shouting, those are our supplies. But no one paid attention to the dissuasive voice, and even because of Li Linger's nice voice, the men became more greedy. You are a good kid, these supplies and cars are all robbed. Zui Yong said with a smile, holding a salt-baked chicken leg in his left hand and a snow beer in his right hand. What kind of fairy life is this? No wonder such beauties follow him. It turns out that they are all for supplies. Anbai couldn't help but yell, you've eaten and taken, now it's time to go. Zhuo Zhixian laughed after hearing this, and ignored him and sat on the sofa. Didn't I say before that we should help each other? But you want to drive us away, which is a bit selfish. The girls laughed in anger. As expected of the richest man, he immediately condemned from the moral high ground. Tang Ze immediately laughed and said, Mr. Zhui is right, I will take them upstairs, and you stay downstairs. Boy! You let my dad live downstairs, do you want to die? Zhuiyong took out an exquisite Nepalese military knife, and the other men stopped pretending and took out knives from their down jackets. Tang Ze's face suddenly changed drastically, and the girls were stunned by his expression, especially Li Linger. If she had known Tang Ze earlier, she could have taken him to act together. Mr. Zhuo, what are you? Tang Ze's trembling voice made Simmons bow down. No wonder she was deceived so badly. Zhuo Zhixian stood up and took out a golden desert eagle from his waist. Tang Ze was stunned. Except for Zhuiyong, the other men were also stunned. I just planned to keep it as a collection before, but I didn't expect it to be useful now. Zhuo Zhixian fired a shot directly after saying that. A loud bang scared Zhuiyong. The girls immediately hid behind Tang Ze. The delicate appearance did not make the men feel pity, but more impatient. However, the muzzle of the gun slowly pointed at Tang Ze. Mr. Zhuo, you are not going to kill me, are you? I haven't killed anyone yet, just let me experience it. I will help you take good care of these women. Dad, I want these too. Zhuiyong pointed at Sun Ting and Li Linger and said. Zhuo Zhixian looked at Tang Ze and pulled the trigger directly. Bang! The bullet slowly shot out from the muzzle. That's right, it was moving slowly. You are really boring. Chapter 89 Shoot. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Following Karasawa's words, the golden bullet fell on the tiles, and the clear sound seemed to fall into everyone's hearts. Not only were these men dumbfounded, but even the girls were stunned. Could this be the power of vampires? It was so exaggerated that they could control the bullets they fired. You are also the richest man in our Huan city, and you actually did such a despicable thing. It really makes me a little disappointed. Sincerity really cannot be exchanged for sincerity. Tang Ze sighed repeatedly. He thought that there would be mistakes in the laws of the end of the world. It seems that the laws of the apocalypse have not deceived me, and I still have to continue to be an emotionless person. Zhuo Zhixian looked at Tang Ze in disbelief, still thinking about why he didn't die. Did you just have a hallucination? A man near the door finally came to his senses and ran outside. Bang bang, 2 shots, the man's legs were shot, and Yi Qingyi's cold voice sounded like the cold weather. Don't you want to live here? Why go? Did I agree? That the men looked at the guns in Yi Qingyi's hands, and they were like lightning strikes. She actually had a gun too. Dad, what are you doing standing still? Shoot! Zhuiyong shouted. Zhuo Zhixian's thoughts finally returned to his body, and he wanted to pull the trigger, but his fingers couldn't do it, and he couldn't press it down no matter how hard he pressed. Tang Ze stretched out his hand and pressed it on the golden sand eagle, and took it in his hand easily. As expected of the golden sand eagle, it does weigh a bit. Dad, what are you doing? Mr. Zhuo. What are you doing? The men exclaimed again and again. Were their guns taken away just like that? Zhuo Zhixian turned around and shouted ferociously, I don't know either. Tang Ze came to Zhuiyong holding the golden sand eagle. The latter looked at Tang Ze in horror, his pants gradually getting wet, but Tang Ze just took out his pack of huazi from Zhuiyong's down jacket. You dare to steal my cigarettes, and I can't save you even if you wet your pants now. Hearing Tang Ze's words, Zhuiyong felt ashamed and angry. When Tang Ze turned around, he cut down the Nepali saber in his hand. Boom! Ah! That the Nepali saber fell to the ground. Zhuiyong covered his bleeding right hand and looked at Sun Ting in panic, as well as the smoking pistol in her hand. There are actually 2 guns. People like you actually came to rob the bandits' den. These women looked extremely weak. Unexpectedly, they were so good at playing guns. The cowardly look just now was all just an act. Smelly woman, you hurt me. Zhuiyong shouted, seemingly unaware of his situation. Sun Ting had wanted to do this for a long time, and slowly walked up to Zhuiyong with a pistol. Kneel down. I won't kneel down until I die. Boom. Sun. Zhuo Zhixian yelled. Zhuiyong's eyes were open, red spots appeared on his forehead, and the back of his head seemed to have been shot. He didn't expect this woman to really dare to shoot. With reluctance, Zhuiyong fell to the ground, but his consciousness had not completely disappeared at this time, and he saw Sun Ting's gun pointed at his head again. You deserve to take off my clothes. Bang 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 bang, the headshot that emptied the magazine showed how angry Sun Ting was. When Li Ling'er saw this scene, her stomach began to churn. Tang Ze said lightly, just bear with it. Listening to Tang Ze's indifferent words, Li Ling'er seemed to see another Tang Ze and suppressed the urge to vomit. I say it again, kneel down. Sun Ting glanced at all the men. At this time, the men no longer had the greed they had at the beginning. Instead, they were filled with infinite terror. Mr. Zhuo's son was unexpectedly shot in the head like crazy. This woman was as ruthless as a snake and a scorpion. I thought so in my heart, but my knees were honest, so I dropped the knife in my hand and knelt down. Simonson said coldly, my master entertained you well and let you eat fresh fruits, but you reciprocated like this. People and gods are outraged. Zhuo Zhixian immediately looked up when he heard Shimeng's name. She actually called him master. We are too blind to see the truth. We won't dare to do it next time. Brother, no, brother, it was Zhuo Zhixian's idea. We were all deceived. Yes, he proposed to rob you, and we didn't even know. Zhuo Zhixian's eyes were blazing and he shouted angrily, you bastards, now you put all the responsibility on me, you will die badly. Tang Ze took out a cigarette and lit it, looked at Zhuo Zhixian and said, Mr. Zhuo, when someone offers you a fire, you should at least extend your hand. This is the minimum respect, isn't it? I was wrong, I will do it next time. Huh? You still want me to pass the fire to you? No, I'll pass it on. It's too late. After saying that, he waved to Yi Qingyi, who obediently put the gun in Tang Ze's hand. Tang Ze pulled Li Ling'er behind him to him. You are new here, and now is your first lesson, killing people. Li Ling'er became timid, her hands couldn't help but tremble. How could she dare to kill someone? Take it. Tang Ze stretched out the gun in front of Li Ling'er, but Li Ling'er found that her strength seemed to have been drained, and it was difficult to raise her hand, let alone hold the gun. I don't want to repeat it a second time. Tang Ze's voice was a little colder. Shimeng suddenly pressed Li Ling'er's shoulders and said carefully, Ling'er, don't be afraid, you can do it. Sister Meng. Sun Ting said lightly, if we weren't stronger than them, think about what the result would be now. Yes, if the master was not strong, he would have been insulted by these beasts and would not know who his parents and enemies were. Suddenly, Li Ling'er felt that his arm had strength and he grabbed the pistol fiercely. Not to mention that his gun-holding posture was quite standard. After all, he had practiced it when he was acting. Shoot. Tang Ze said lightly. Following Tang Ze's words, the men kneeling on the ground were terrified. As one person kowtowed for mercy, the others followed suit and kowtowed. Their scalps were broken. Don't kill me, I have old people above me and young children below me. My wife gave birth to a child for me yesterday. Please don't kill me for the sake of the child. Faced with such a plea, Li Ling'er hesitated and couldn't do it at all, and Bai suddenly said, these words are already standard in the end times. I have heard them many times. Tang Ze narrowed his eyes slightly and said in a deep voice, aren't you going to avenge your parents? Now you don't even dare to kill people. If the murderer kneels in front of you and admits his mistake and begs for mercy, will you forgive him? No, I won't. Li Ling'er shouted. Then shoot. Li Ling'er tightened her arms and pressed her fingers on the trigger, but she couldn't press it down. Tang Ze sighed, stamped out the cigarette butt, waved to Sun Ting, and Sun Ting put the gun in Tang Ze's hand. Tang Ze's next move made everyone wonder. Staring blankly, Tang Ze pointed the gun in his hand at Li Ling'er's temple. Li Linger could even feel the residual heat of the muzzle, and her face turned pale instantly. Chapter 90. This is a compulsory course. You are listening at novelfull.audio. I said, she can't fit in. Are you satisfied with this result? Tang Ze looked at the other four women. Li Linger could change so quickly, it must be them who gave others the idea. It's no need to find out who it was. The four women didn't say anything. They just thought, Linger, just shoot, it will be fine. Tang Ze looked into Li Linger's eyes. What can crying solve? We are in different circles, so we can't force our way in. You'd better not follow us and stay here. But the rain has stopped. I guess someone will come here to rob soon, and you will be robbed too. Why don't I give you a quick death and go to see your parents as soon as possible to avoid being insulted? Tang Ze just finished speaking. Bang. Ah. Li Linger screamed and pulled the trigger frantically. These shots seemed to shatter the weakness and pity in her heart. The men kneeling on the ground felt that they were going to die, but as the gunshots disappeared, they opened their eyes and saw that they were fine. Looking left and right, everyone was fine, because it was a blind shot. Kakaka, although the magazine was emptied, Li Linger still kept pulling the trigger. Change her magazine. Tang Ze said lightly. He thought that firing the gun would be the end. How naive, and Bai immediately came up to change the magazine and gave Li Linger an encouraging hug. The men thought it was over, but they didn't expect them to change the magazine again. Isn't this cheating? Think about your parents, who were also killed by cruel people like them. As a daughter, think about it carefully. Bang! The first kneeling man on the left fell down with a headshot. It was a bit accurate. It seemed that he had practiced before, and it was only 5 or 6 meters away, but the recoil still made Li Linger's arms lift very high. Tang Ze said softly, keep your center of gravity. Li Linger didn't say anything and fired again. The second one fell down. At this moment, Li Linger's eyes became firm, completely different from the weakness before, as if she had grown up at that moment and integrated into this doomsday environment. Either you die or I die, there is no third option. Don't kill me, I will give you money and your company. I am worth hundreds of billions. I will give you whatever you want. Zhuo Zhixian watched people fall down one by one beside him, and he didn't care about the title of the richest man. His forehead was bleeding, but Li Linger, with cold eyes, pointed the gun at Zhuo Zhixian and pulled the trigger. Zhuo Zhixian closed his eyes, but heard a click. It turned out that the bullets were all used up, but the previous shot made Zhuo Zhixian urinate and shit. He had never felt death so close to him. If time could go back, he would never come here. This is not a sheepfold, it's full of tigers. Tang Ze wanted to correct it a little. The tigers are tigers, but the white ones. No more bullets. Li Linger's eyes looked empty, as if her soul was locked up by herself. Tang Ze took Li Linger's gun. De Meng Meng, take her to rest. Okay. Shi Meng pulled Li Linger to the side, and Li Linger pointed at Zhuo Zhixian and said dully, there is another one that I didn't kill. Linger, don't worry about him, you have to rest well now. No, the master will not want me, the master will kill me. Li Linger was in a trance, feeling like she was about to collapse at any time. Tang Ze naturally realized, you go too. Yeah. That I didn't expect to force Li Linger like this. Tang Ze sighed. Women want to protect themselves in this doomsday. This is a compulsory course. Walking to Zhuo Zhixian, Zhuo Zhixian raised his head and begged for mercy. Duh. Bang! Before he finished speaking, he was shot in the head by his own golden desert eagle. Tang Ze didn't want to talk nonsense with such a person. You guys clean up, I'll go out for a walk. Tang Ze said lightly, and walked out of the living room filled with blood. His good mood was gone with the arrival of this group of people. Tang Ze walked out of the door and looked up at the night sky. It felt like he hadn't seen such a bright full moon for a long time. The ground was illuminated by the moonlight. It was really a night of murder. He walked directly across the middle of the road and came to the villa opposite, which was Zhuo Zhixian's home. The door lock obviously couldn't resist Tang Ze's footsteps, and the house was pitch black, a woman's voice sounded from the living room, with expectation. Husband, did you kill the person opposite? I heard a lot of gunshots. Tang Ze walked into the living room without saying a word. The moonlight shone in through the glass. Tang Ze saw the woman wrapped in a quilt. She didn't seem to be very old. She looked like she was only in her early 30s. An old cow eating tender grass. Who are you? My husband has a gun. The woman also saw Tang Ze, a stranger, and immediately stepped back. Are you talking about this one? Tang Ze raised his hand, and the moonlight shone on the golden desert eagle, which looked very unique. The woman stared blankly at the gun in Tang Ze's hand. Sister-in-law, don't be afraid, I don't kill women. After a while, a gunshot was heard in the villa, and Tang Ze also walked out of the villa, took a deep breath, and walked back to Li Linger's villa. The body was thrown on the lawn outside. Tang Ze walked into the house and saw Sun Ting and by mopping the floor, while Li Linger cried violently upstairs. Tang Ze smiled. It would be better if he cried. Soon Shi Meng and Yi Qingyi came downstairs, and Li Linger followed beside them, feeling like a frightened little rabbit, with red and swollen eyes, and pitiful. Go and clean up. Tang Ze said lightly without looking at Li Linger. Faced with Tang Ze's disregard, Li Linger bit her red lips slightly and lowered her head in silence. Shi Meng said softly, Go, I won't blame you. He likes to scare people the most. Yi Qingyi followed. Although Tang Ze likes to scare people, you don't know when he will really do it. This is the scary thing. Li Linger took a deep breath and walked to Tang Ze in small steps. Tang Ze still didn't look up and whispered, Go to clean up first, and talk about the rest later. Bean-sized tears fell along the beautiful face. Li Linger said with a sob, I'm sorry, I was wrong. Where was wrong? This made the other four women stunned. These three words seemed to be women's lines before. I'm timid, I love to cry. Aren't you known for your strong adaptability? I don't want to take a crying woman on the road. Li Linger wiped away her tears immediately, and the way she wiped her tears was like a child. Tonight is still a long night, and your test is not over yet. The rain won't stop for a while. Tang Ze looked at the strange full moon outside the house, as if he knew that it was pitch black, and it emitted light to let humans fight bloody. The girls looked out the window. The last time the rain stopped for more than 10 minutes, this time it lasted more than 20 minutes. I'm afraid that the streets and alleys are now in chaos.